and welcome to my channel. I'm Z. Come wine with me. Today I'm going to whine about Love. Love is Blind, season 2. And I've watched up until the weddings. Go ahead and eat this separately off camera. I've watched up until the weddings, which is the last episode. However, I know that there's going to be a reunion episode coming up. But I've watched up until marriages. So I am going to give a little commentary regarding each couple and let you know what their final decisions were. We'll start with Danielle and Nick. Now, Danielle and Nick, I don't understand this couple. Like I said, I've never gotten any type of chemistry from those two. I definitely think Nick plays for the other team. Maybe he doesn't know it, but it seems pretty clear to me. He is very... Listen, I don't even care that much. So, Nick and Danielle, they get to the altar. Nick is sweating bullets. Like, he literally, like, sweats through his pants. This man is, like, drenched. And it was not attractive. That is not how I would want things to go down on my wedding day. And I feel like he was probably sweating bullets because he knew that they shouldn't be marrying one another. But I think he must secretly like the drama. I don't know, because it doesn't make any sense to me why they both said yes. It is clear they don't communicate well. From the time that they were in Mexico to the time that they went to one another's residences, to the time that they met one another's families, to the time that was shortly after the bachelor and bachelorette party, they were fighting. They always had some tiff. And Danielle, she'll tell you 11 times that she is insecure. In Mexico, she had an issue with him talking to other people, and I guess when she waved at him, from the room because she was sick, he didn't wave back. And then when when they visited one another's homes, there was an issue about how clean she would be, whether or not she could have her drum set out. Then there's meeting the families. She felt like he wasn't excited enough to after meeting her family, but they never seem to be able to get along very well. But yet they keep insisting that they love one another, and I don't see the appeal with these two. And I'm standing by my assessment that I think Danielle is a beard. I think Nick is repressed, and being from I think he said he was from a Catholic background. I think he's repressed. I think he's probably part of the LGBT community and does not want to acknowledge that. That is my opinion. I just don't see it with these two. My assessment come the reunion. I don't think Danielle will. I think Danielle and Nick will still be together. I don't think Danielle is going to let go, and I don't think Nick is going to let go. He's got his beard. He's got his drama, and he's got his insecure woman who, won't go anywhere. She might be insecure, she might be annoying, but she'll stick around. More than likely, she'll stick around. Okay, let me just go ahead and get Shane and Natalie out of the way. This is another couple. I don't quite see it. I don't see it, but I think I said in the previous video I did on this, like the other couples have stated that they understand like what, the other couples at the barbecue, they were all pretty much saying, no, it was in Mexico. They pretty much were all, saying, oh yeah, Shane and Natalie definitely, they're a great couple. They're, probably most likely to stick together and wind up getting married at the end of this process. And I don't understand. And I have to recognize that this show is edited and we don't know all the things that were said in the pods. we're missing a lot of information, and all we have to go on is what production decided was most important for the audience to know. So, having said that, based on what we've gotten to see, I don't really see how Shane and Natalie. Let me say this: I don't see how Shane and Natalie paired up, except for the component of assurance. When Shane spoke of Natalie, he would speak about how reassured she made him feel. And so I think that knowing that his love language is words of affirmation, and what a big deal he's been making about that throughout this season, so much so that they've argued over it multiple times. Basically, he's not getting enough compliments. But when they were in the pods, I think that is what made him fall for Natalie, is that Natalie made it very clear to him. I mean, I don't have to say I think. He said that Natalie made it clear to him that she was all in with him. She fed his ego. He didn't have to wonder. He felt assured that he was wanted by her. That's all it took for him. So I think whether or not they were, so for example, I think most of the people who watch this show will be able to see that Shane and Shayna are a better match because they're both vain, they're both kind of doofy, silly, not silly, but dumb. They both come across as dumb. I'm not saying that they are dumb. I'm saying they come across as dumb. Come across as superficial, egomaniacal. So they seem like a better match. However, what Shayna did not do, that Shane has as higher on his list of desires, is feed his ego. And Natalie did that in the pods, and so now we're here. So let's see. Yeah, so that's what brought them together. Now Shane and Natalie, they anytime they'd have conversations, I feel like Natalie was always so googly-eyed, but Shane was just always just fishing for compliments, and he was annoying. And then when they get to talking about their future together, it doesn't seem congruent at all. Like, this man, he made a comment, something like, he said he doesn't believe in 401ks. Boy, what? We don't believe in it. It's a religion to you? Like, you don't believe in 401ks? To me, that's just a cover for you. That's just a way of you not having to acknowledge that you're irresponsible with money by making it something like, I don't believe in that. I eschew that. That's not, important. No. You just don't want to have to say, I ain't got it. You just don't want to have to say you don't have much in your savings. You don't want to have to say you don't have any savings. You don't want to have to tell this woman that is a grown-ass man in his 30s, you can spend a whole bunch of money on your teeth, but what? You live in a shoebox? Okay. Yeah, so Shane is probably very irresponsible, and Natalie is very responsible. And, rather than just owning up to that reality and trying to talk about ways that he can bring himself, not necessarily up to where she is, but just be more responsible and thinking that way. Natalie pretty much steps in Captain Save-A-Ho, and that's fine. Basically she's willing to be the breadwinner. And the reason that I don't agree with that is not just about gender roles, because I do believe that, and have lived this at some point in my life, that a man can be the one, and this is what Natalie's background is. She said her father raised her siblings, or sibling. I think she has one sister. Whatever. He raised the kids, and her mother was the breadwinner. That is not a problem. What is a problem is, here you have one person that's willing to bear responsibilities, and I'm not getting that Shane is willing to bear responsibilities. He just wants to continue to fly by the seat of his pants and, you know, just eschew adulthood and just, you know, continue to, be who he is, and, not have to make any changes, and like, come on, let's stop. If you're deciding to get married, you're gonna have to make some changes. It doesn't have to be a whole overhaul of your life, but you're gonna have to make some changes. So, when you get these people who come in and act like, oh, I'm not gonna change anything, I don't, blah, 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 they just sound stupid to me. I don't know. Shane is just, he's so goofy to me. So you get to their wedding day, and apparently they have a fight the night before the wedding, and she talks about how I think she was actually crying on camera. Natalie was crying on camera, and she talks about, he's my best friend. Girl, you just met this man and he's your best friend? She said that multiple times. He's my best friend. He's my best friend. But your best friend decided to have a knockdown, drag-out fight with you the night before your wedding, and to tell you that he hates you and that you're the worst thing to happen to him. But that's your best friend. Girl, no. And in one of their previous arguments that they actually did show on camera when they were still in, I think they were still in Mexico, and they were, having a little date night. It was all cute, and then all of a sudden there's this blow up about, basically him and his ego. He's not getting his ego stroked enough, and he made that a big fight. And Natalie seems to do her best to try to be the voice of reason and try to calm the situation. He just gets all in his feelings and flustered and loud and huffy, and I don't like that. Something about him seems a bit unstable. I mean, I'm not gonna go so far as to call him crackhead, but he strikes me as, if he's not a drunk, he strikes me as being on something. He seems to have he strikes me as having some abuse issue, because his seeming inability to regulate his emotions, it's just a red flag to me. And it's just the way that it seems that he goes from being loving to like just completely opposite to like cruel. To me, that's the thing of some type of abuse issue, substance abuse. They get to their marriage, their wedding day. They get to the altar, and I thought Natalie's dress was lovely, but it's so like weird. The atmosphere is so weird. Like, typically people have smiles on their faces at weddings. Both of the moms, I don't know if they were mean mugging each other or they were just giving each other the look like this can't happen. I don't know which it was, but neither of them looked happy. And when I say neither of them, I mean Natalie's mother and Shane's mother. They both looked unhappy with the situation. They kind of like looked over at each other, and yeah, like I said, I don't know if they were mean mugging or giving one another like a look of disappointment. So it's very likely that their respective children shared with them what happened the night before, the very night before. And so, we get to the vows, the vows, and of course, Shane actually still wants to get married, but Natalie says she can't. And she had said, she explained why. She didn't talk about the fight, but she just pretty much was like, I don't remember, child. But something that was like unnerving was that after the ceremony, when they were talking, Shane is pacing like a crackhead out on the yard, on the lawn, wherever the venue is, and I'm looking, I'm like, why doesn't this man have socks on? His shoes must stink. My mind wanders. So they're talking, and she's trying to be like, we just need more time, we can blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, oh, I don't know if we could ever come back from this, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just, the dynamic is really odd. If you are claiming that you were ready to marry this woman, then why would you shoot down the idea of taking more time in a situation where that you all had a terrible fight the night before and you said some horrible things to her? So he basically, he apologizes, but he does it in such a way where he acts as if his apology is supposed to automatically wipe the slate clean. It's immature. It's just immature thinking. And then he gets huffy and catches an attitude with her because she said no to marrying him. Sir, like a minute before, you were apologizing for saying you hate her and that she's the worst thing that ever happened to you. And I just don't get how you think you can go from apologize for being a total dickhead, but I don't know if I can ever get over you saying no to not marrying me. Like, what? What? Child. Mallory and Sal. I'll be honest, I really like Sal. I think that I like Sal, right? Like, he's sensitive. He likes to sing. Honey, he's singing all the time. He seems very grounded and mature, and like, and manly at the same time. I feel like, sometimes people dismiss the quieter men, and think that the ones that are, always stomping around and loud and, that's, the stuff of the masculine. But I don't know. Sal comes across to me as being very masculine. I just like his quiet strength. Like, he just seems to have a quiet strength and assuredness about himself that I like. But having said that, I do not think that he and Mallory there wasn't a vibe. I think Mallory really liked him, and really probably, really still likes him. But I don't think she was physically attracted to him and could really see herself with him. And I also don't think that they had chemistry, honestly. I just didn't see it. I don't think they had chemistry. I don't know how to, and maybe it's because she had some walk up. But even like, and I know this isn't fair because you can't always tell by just looks, right? But like, I just didn't feel like they even looked right together. I think that it was a situation where there were no objections, right? Like, he is clearly nice, solid dude, would treat her well, respectful, had good values, and he's a good-looking guy as well. But I don't think it's her type. And Mallory, she seems cool. She doesn't seem to have any glaring red flags about her. She's well into her adulthood. She is stable. But yeah, I don't think that they match. And now that I think about it, one thing that doesn't match is that piece, right? I think Mallory is stable and Sal isn't. And I feel like for Sal, and watching this, I remember even like thinking to myself, and I'm like, Sal, honey, why did you go on the show? You still have a roommate. Like, I think that when you come into a situation like this, especially when I'm just gonna say what I feel, right? Like, I feel like you shouldn't be coming into this situation, especially as a man, without some type of stability and something to offer, unless you're like below the age of 25 or something. Like, if you are late 20s or in your 30s, I'm not comfortable with the idea of you not having a solid foundation for yourself even. So I can see if it's a situation where it's like, okay, yeah, I still have a roommate, but I have money I'm putting to the side because I want to be able to get a place with my future wife. But I wasn't getting that from Sal. Now I know these aren't discussions that were had, but I was getting broke artist from Sal. That's what Sal was giving. Sal was giving broke artist, okay? And I can love and appreciate the artists of the world, and not all artists are broke, but Sal was giving broke artist, okay? He was giving, trying to get my singing career popping, okay? He was giving, I'm still trying to hustle out on these streets with my craft, realness, okay? Like, I don't think he is ready. He doesn't have a stable foundation, and he needs to have that for himself before he brings a woman into his life as a wife. That is my opinion. And so for these two, I think they were mismatching that. They're at different stages of their lives, and I think that yeah, I don't see that as working. But these two get to the altar, and anyhow these two get to the altar, and they ask Sal first, and so give the vows and ask if Sal will take Mallory. And Sal says no. And I was actually was surprised. I thought that it would be Sal would be on the yes side and Mallory would be on the no side, because there seemed to have been some hesitancy on her part that, although not necessarily knockdown, drag out fights, like it was giving, I know that there is not an it factor here. Sal, during when they had a group barbecue for the cast members of Love is Blind, Sal went up to Jared and brought up his discussion with Mallory about the rings and what was said, because when they were in Mexico, when they were talking, there was still very much a vibe between Jared and Mallory, and they seemed to be vibing. He confronted Jared about that in a comment like that. I think that really hurt him and made him insecure, because I think he knows that Jared has more of the look that Mallory would go for, but hearing also that some other man might have been more aware of her desires, of her likes and dislikes, I think that is something that really got to him, because he, I think, would pride himself on having that sensitivity and that pride himself on being romantic and embodying the romantic, the Latin lover. And to think that someone else could trump him in that particular fashion, I think really hurt his ego. And I wanted to give Sal props, because I liked how Sal, walked up to Jared man to man, was like, "Did you say this?" I was like, okay, boy, okay, I hear you. I see you, mariachi. You ain't playing out these streets. But I think that he knew that Mal wasn't really feeling him like that. So come the wedding and the vows, when he says that he doesn't want to continue, but also he didn't want to do things the wrong way. He wanted more time to get to know her family. Her family had expressed a lot of hesitancy with the whole process, and them getting married so soon. And so he cited wanting, just feeling like they didn't have that time, and he didn't want to do things in that way. And then when Mallory, walks off, he turns and addresses the wedding party, particularly Mallory's family, and he says, I appreciate that you all come here, but I just want to get more. I would feel more comfortable having gotten a chance to know you, and blah blah blah. I don't know. I just thought it was such a classy move and upstanding move. Where they both decide, they talk a bit, and they both decide, let's try to date instead. Let's see if we can just date rather than jump into marriage. And I thought that was nice. Honestly, I don't know what is in these contracts. I don't know if they get paid for anything, but I mean, if money was on the table, then maybe I would go through that. But otherwise, I think it's pretty obvious that marrying someone you just met for only a month, sure, there are outlier incidences where couples do that and they've been together 40 years. But I think that's not necessarily the norm, at least in the Western world. So let's stop. That's not the norm. It doesn't typically work out like that. And I don't think we should encourage it either. So that's that on that with Mallory and Sal. let's move on to Shake and Deep T. They had this scene when they went to meet one another's families, and I thought like those were amongst the most wholesome moments of this entire series. Deep T's family, super open arms. It was just great to see that. Like their Deep T's mother and father, they had an arranged marriage, and they've been married for what, like 35 years or something like that. And Deep T's mother talked about how the father has been taking care of her ever since they've been married, and they seem very much to be in love, and like they have built this family together, and it's just so beautiful. And they were just so open to Shake, and like they had a dinner scene, and they were just talking and vibing, and I just thought that was so beautiful. And then they go to there's at some point they go to Shake's family, and his family seems decent as well, and it's really open to Deep T and really seem to like Deep T. But Shake is so trash. What I don't like about Shake is how he will tell, and has been throughout the season, telling anybody with 2 ears, including his mama, that he is not attracted to Deep T. Now, as I don't know if you remember, but when they met, he was like, "Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful," he's grabbing her booty and all this other stuff. And then when they get to Mexico, all of a sudden, "Oh, she reminds me of my aunt." Sir, pick a lane. Like, are you unattracted to her or attracted to her? I don't know what's wrong with this man. I really don't. And I'm still, he says he's a vet, but is he a vet trying to do some acting on the side? I still get that acting, like, I still get actor from I still get actor from Shake, bad actor. I feel like he's trying to maybe break into the biz, and maybe this is the way he's trying to do it. I don't know, but his something ain't right about that man. Something ain't right. He's just so disingenuous. What I like is that when he told his mother that, his mama was basically like, well, I'm not on your side. You need to just go ahead and let Deep go because she deserves better. Damn. How your mama tell you that the woman you with deserves better than you? That's got to hurt. Like, that's got to hurt when your own parent is like, they can do better than you, my son. Damn. But that still didn't put him in check. He was still running around telling anybody with 2 ears just how unattracted to DT he was, while simultaneously like extolling her virtues and talking about how wonderful she is, and how the great connection they have, and how he's never had a connection like that in his life. At this point, you're just self-sabotaging Shake. And that's another reason why I was wondering, like, is he really an actor? Because it just seems so out of place, the constant harping on, attraction, like, how many times do you have to say it? Like, for example, with Mallory and Sal, I never got the sense that Mallory was particularly attracted to Sal. I think she really liked him. I think she could find him objectively attractive, but I don't think she found him attractive, like, for her standards, right? But she didn't go around saying it. Just tell. But she didn't have to go around harping, like yelling to anybody, who would hear. Shayna and Kyle. When Shayna and Kyle first walked out, Shayna did not seem too impressed with Kyle. She still said he was, she still complimented him and said he's good looking and blah, blah, blah. Because, Kyle has a nice body, nice shape, whatever. But you could tell that Shayna was not here for Kyle in that way, carnally. Yet, she didn't go around with a megaphone. "I'm not attracted to Kyle. Hey, you across the street. I just need you to know I'm not attracted to him. I'm not attracted to him. No one needed to know that, ma'am. Oh, excuse me. No one needed to know that, sir. No one. And if you had to tell someone, you could have told your friends, but like, did you have to do it on camera? 57 times? Like, you're a mess. So, the day of Deep's Deep and Shake's wedding, I have to say they had the most amazing wedding outfits. Like, Shake's attire, loved it. It was like this cream with gold embroidery. I don't know what you would call it. It was like I don't want to call it a dress, but I don't know what it's called in the Indian language, or I don't even know what language he speaks, but yeah, it was a really nice groom's attire or whatever. And Deep T's outfit, baby, gorgeous. She had great accessories. She had this like little sparkly silver embroidered top that was a crop top, and the skirt, flowed down. Just like it looked like a Hindi attire, but without the, I forget what you call that, sash. But anyway, it was really pretty. It was really gorgeous. And when she came out, Shake was like, "Oh, you look hot," and I was just like, "You're at a wedding, dude. Like, have some decorum. You can say, oh, you're beautiful,' or something like that. But like, hot denotes like sexy, and I just feel like that's inappropriate at a wedding in front of family. Call me conservative, but I just thought it was inappropriate. But anyhow, so when they get to the vows, they get to Deep T first, and Deep T basically is like, I choose myself. I, know I deserve someone who, is gonna, love and respect me, and who is sure that they want to be with me. That's someone who is sure about me. And I was so happy for her, because every scene, she would seem so over the moon and excited about Shake and the prospect of being with him for life, that I was like concerned that she would potentially be devastated if he said no. I thought she would say yes and that he would say no. But this scene honestly seemed more like he was, even though he claims he, would have said yes if she said yes, but he was relieved that she said no so that he didn't have to. He's confusing. I think he would have said yes. I honestly think he would have said yes. And I think he was devastated that she said no, but had to like save face. But also that's me. That's my impression if he's not an actor. If he is an actor, then he, said whatever and did whatever because it's all an act. And I really have to make that delineation because he just seems so disingenuous to me that I don't know if I can believe that he was really in this process for real and not just trying to get screen time, or not. And so I feel like I have to make that delineation. Like, if it was real, that's what I think what is the case. And if it wasn't real, then he had to do all this self-sabotaging to make sure that she actually didn't wind up, committing herself to a person who wasn't really genuine about the process. Yeah. So finally we have Ayanna and Jarrett. Ayanna and Jarrett, they seem like the best couple and the most real and genuine couple. You could see the chemistry, you could see how they got along, you could see the points where they were a good match. But having said that, I also think that Jarrett isn't ready for this process. Like, I don't think he's ready to be anyone's husband. I think he needs to work on himself and needs more time to work on himself. And I get that from, for example, when they met, went to his home. I mean, he has like a barber's chair in his house. he kind of, I don't even think he had a comforter on his bed, but I ain't gonna get too nitpicky because if whatever. But it's just, I just feel like he needs to get a handle on all his hustles and, really build up his nest egg before he takes on a wife, because I just don't think he's ready. In addition to that, when they're living together, he still wants to go out with his boys all the time. Ayana says, listen, I don't mind if you come home late. I don't mind if you still decide to go out, but can you at least be home by 3? And in my mind, I'm like, so you mean to tell me he's been coming home on a regular basis later than 3? All right, child. And you have to tell him that is not appropriate. I'm not saying going out is not appropriate. I go out, whatever. But I'm saying if this is a regular occurrence, that's like living the single life. Like, what are you doing? You have to be told that. And there was another scene where he makes a comment like, "Oh, Ayana doesn't want me to, come in to the ceremony, drunk, or she doesn't want me to drink, before coming into the ceremony," something like that. And then, of course, they start taking shots. He starts taking shots with his friends, and it's like, okay. I mean, I know you said you were gonna make all these changes, but I don't believe in you. Sorry, Jared, I don't believe in you. But who does believe in him? Ayana. They get to the ceremony and they both say "I do," and I think that, like I said, I think that they have the ingredients to be a really good couple, but I don't think he's ready, mentally ready. Not just financially. Sure, he's not financially ready, but they could. She's still young. She's 27, still in school. They could still grow together. But I don't think he's mentally ready. I think and something else that gave me that impression is when they did the vows. His vows, they were all about her nurturing him and caring for him. And I'm listening. I'm like, you couldn't shoot in anything about what you intended to do for her as a husband. Everything is just about what you'll be getting by acquiring this wife. It's just like, I would have liked to have heard from him what he intends to give and sacrifice as a husband for her happiness. And I feel like that wasn't said during the vows. And there have been times when he's made comments like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna make you the happiest woman," and stuff like that. But to me, that's so abstract. When you had opportunity to do something concrete, like not drink before your wedding ceremony, you didn't do that. When it comes to going out and stuff like that, I guess we haven't had enough time to see if he'll keep his word on that. But I don't think he will. But to be fair, I don't know if we've even had enough time to see if he'll keep his word on that. And that's kind of my point. It's we've got to trust that you are going to make necessary changes. And I guess Ayana is the only one that needs to trust it. But I'm with Ayana's mama, because her mama said, "I'm not sure," and I ain't either. I don't think you can trust a man who got $200 sneakers. I ain't with it. You can get a good comforter for $20. But having said that, theirs was the match and the pairing that seemed to make the most sense in terms of their personalities, in terms of we could see their chemistry, we could see how they vibed on camera. It came across, it translated in a way that the others didn't, except for, I would say, Deepti and Shake did, but in certain respects. But Shake kept going off the deep end with the whole attraction thing, and he just seemed really disingenuous at different parts. But the parts where they were, relating and talking, you could see how they could have things in common, and you could see where they had things in common and why they would, could potentially be a good match. But having said that, Ayana and Jared consistently, you could see it consistently throughout the season, consistently throughout all of the scenes that showed them. They made sense throughout. Even if I can say that I don't think it's a good idea for them to marry at this juncture. I can still recognize that they have the ingredients, but I think that, Jared's probably gonna mess it up in some way. I hope he doesn't though. I really do hope he doesn't. I do hope he, follows through with his word, because Ayana seems like a really great girl, and I think that, and he seems like a really fun guy, and I think they could, make they go. Well, we only saw Ayana's adoptive mom and dad, and they seemed decent, but Jared's family seemed really open and loving. His parents have been together for a very long time, and his father served as their minister, which I thought was also beautiful. Which also made for some beautiful moments. So I just, I do hope things work out for them. And as we know, Kyle and Sheena, they didn't make it to the altar at all. So that's a wash. All right, well, and so my predictions for the reunion. For obviously Kyle and Shayna, no, they didn't even make it to the altar, so that's wash. Natalie and Shane, obviously they both said, Natalie said no. Do I think that they'll still be in touch with one another? I'm gonna say no. And I'm going to say that I'm going to guess that Shayna has probably reached out to Shane by the reunion. That's going to be my prediction. Sal and Mallory, I predict that they will have probably gone on some dates and realized that they ain't going to get much further. And Ayana and Jared, I think they'll still be together by the reunion. I don't see it for them in the long haul, but I do hope for them, because I think that Ayana definitely deserves it, and I think Jared seems like a good kid. He just needs a little more seasoning and a little more maturity, and it's a little more of a solid foundation. That's all I have for now. Thanks for whining with me, and until next time, bye.